The memory of the nation is being preserved here in this truck at the foot of the TV tower in Berlin. The van contains a state-of-the-art TV studio. The aim is to create an internet portal for the memories of everyday people. Hartmut Richter was one of the first to tell his story. He fled communist East Germany and knows how it feels to leave a home behind.
I was very sad because I loved my home, the place I grew up in, my family and friends. The 3 million who'd escaped before me must have felt the same. They didn't flee because the cigarettes were better in the West, but because they were threatened with persecution, expropriation, and arrest and so on. Now the people who enjoyed privileges, because some of course were more equal than others, want to distort the facts. I don't like the way the past is rewritten.
Klaus Steiniger doesn't share his viewpoint. He was, and still is, a fervent communist. The point of the online memory project is to give everyone a voice.
I defend communist East Germany to the hilt because I believe, as a communist, that it was the greatest achievement in the history of the German workers' movement, regardless of its shortcomings. For a period of 40 years, the power was taken away from capital, at least in 1/3 of Germany.
Guido Knopp is one of the initiators of the Memory of a Nation project. Funded by investors such as Google and Daimler-Benz, the project was partly inspired by Steven Spielberg's Shoah Foundation, which created an archive of video testimonies of Holocaust survivors. It's a way of ensuring that people's memories will be preserved.
If you look around and see what opinion research and polls show about what people know about history, the results are shocking. The results are particularly shocking when it comes to young people.
The project was specifically designed as an online platform to appeal to the younger generation. Now, whatever people want to know about German history is just a mouse click away. And it's not just a catalogue of war and suffering. There are recollections of West Germany's historic first Football World Cup win in 1954. When the birth control pill was introduced in Germany in 1961, it changed women's lives. It ushered in an era of emancipation and sexual liberation. Women took to the streets to demand equal rights. The Green Party entered Parliament for the first time in 1983. In the early days, they weren't always taken seriously. But they soon proved that they had political staying power. The organizers are also taking a longer-term view. They hope that the Memory of a Nation project will last for centuries.
Remember that the internet will allow young people in 300, 400, or 500 years to see and hear eyewitness accounts of history. They'll be able to look into the eyes of the people who lived through Germany's extraordinarily turbulent 20th century, which was so full of war, expulsion, and state bankruptcy.
Interviews with dozens of high-profile people are already featured on the website. Former West German Chancellor Helmut Schmidt recalls his experience of the Nazi era.
A lot of people failed to grasp the enormity of what happened. When I was released from the prisoner of war camp in the fall of 1945 and heard for the first time about Auschwitz and the gas chambers, I couldn't believe it. It was unimaginable.
His successor, Helmut Kohl, remembers being on a state visit to Poland when he was told that the Berlin Wall had fallen.
My first reaction was, can this be true? And then I realized that the Poles had been given the news too and hadn't said anything. Then it was confirmed. And we got into a big argument. First it was polite, but it got increasingly heated, Because I said I had to go to Berlin immediately. My place was in Berlin. I couldn't have stayed there.
The van will spend the next 3 years traveling across Germany, looking for people with interesting stories to tell. And everyone has at least one.